So as you can see, I haven't done anything. All I did, I linked my HTML to my CSS, and I have two images I'm going to use. I have a folder called images here, and I have two images in it. I have my background image that I'm going to use, and I have an avatar image which I'm going to use for my avatar in my login form. So that's actually all I have here. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to create a background for my form, which I'm going to create a div, and I'm going to give it a class name of login box. When I click now, I have a div with a class name of login form. So within this my login form, I'm going to create an image, which is going to be my avatar image. So I'm going to create an image tag, but for the alt, I'm just going to write profile here. For the source, I'm going to leave it for now, but I'm going to come back later. So I'm going to create a h1, and I'm going to give it a name of login form. So that's actually all I have here. What I'm going to do now is to create a form. And within this form, that's where I'm going to insert my input. So first, let me save and head to my style sheet. So if you look at it, this is actually what I'm having here. So let me head to my CSS here. So I'm going to give universal styling. I'm going to give a margin of 0. I'm going to give a padding of 0. And I'm going to give a box sizing of border box. I'm going to be having some list of links here, which are going to have a default underline. So I'm going to make my text decoration to be none, because I want to tick the underline to be gone. So I'm going to make a text decoration to be none. And for my font style, I'm going to use my general system UI. And I'm going to make all my borders to have a none border. So I'm going to write border to be none. And that's actually all I'm having here. So I'm going to target my body, the body of my page here, and give it a background image. And I have a folder of images here. Within it, I have my planet Earth, which I'm going to use for my background. Now this is my planet Earth. So I'm going to give a background repeat of none, because I don't want my images to repeat itself. So I'm going to give background repeat of no repeat. I'm going to use object fit for my background size. And I want to make it to be cover. And I save here, this is actually what we're having. So I'm going to target my background position, my object position, because I want it to focus on the bottom side of my image. So I'm going to write bottom here. So now let me target my login box. Dot login box dash lem box. So the first thing I'm going to do in this my login box body is to give it a weight of 270 pixel and a height of 370 pixel. I'm going to give it a background color of black, even though you can't see it because of our image we are having here. Well, I'm still having a background color of both. For now, let me take it to be white so that you can actually see the height and weight. Now this is what we are having here. I want to give it a padding so that I can have space from top and bottom of my box here. So I'm going to give a 1.5 rem of top and bottom and 1.5 rem of left and right of my box. So I'm having a space here. So apart from it, I'm going to make my color to be white, even though I'm having a white background here. So I'm just going to write FFFF, which stands for white. Even though you're not actually seeing my text, but don't worry, you're going to see it. So let me just make this background color to be black. Now you're seeing my text here, because whenever you're in this kind of situation, your text is the most important. So apart from it, I'm going to make a margin to be 0. And I'm going to give a box shadow. For the box shadow, I'm going to write box here. And I'm going to use your shadow. So I want 0 to be top and bottom, 0 to be left and right. And for the blur, I want it to be 5 pixel blurred. And I want it to start from 4 pixel before it becomes blurred. 4 pixel. And I want the color to be green. So when I save here, now I'm having a box shadow here. I want it to be in the center of my page. So I'm going to come back to my body here and give a position of absolute. And I'm going to write top to be 50% and left to be 50%. When I save here, this is actually what I'm having. So in this case, that's where this transform property comes to place. I'm going to transform translate I'm going to write minus 50%. Minus 50%. Now I'm having my box to be at the center of my page. But in this case, I want my box shadow to be inside my box, not outside my box. Let me go to my box shadow here. If I give this 20 rem, 20 pixels solid not rem. Now if you notice here, my box shadow is outside my box, but I want it to be inside my box, not outside my box. So let me put this to be 0. So with this, I'm going to insert one text, which is going to bring my text shadow from outside my box to be inside my box. So I'm just going to write, just before this 0, you're going to put insert, just like this. Now that's where the magic starts from. Now if you notice here, the box shadow is not outside my box but inside my box. So let me just show you of what I'm talking about here. So let me write 10 pixel here, so you can actually see that it's inside my box, not outside. And you see what I'm talking about here. If you look at the top part of my box here, if you look at it very well, this is actually what we're having. So I don't want it to be like this. I'm just going to make it to be 0. Now this is actually what we're having here. So now I believe I'm done with my login box. I have my box shadow and I gave it a size here, and I'm done with it. So if you remember at the beginning of my HTML, I have an image that I haven't given it a source. So I'm going to come back to this my HTML here and give it this image. So I'm going to go to my folder here, and I have an image of avatar. So I'm going to use this image of avatar. But the moment I save here, if you look at the other side of my screen, now my image is all over my screen. So that's where I need to style it. Look at it, I have a class name of avatar here. I give it a class name of avatar, so I'm going to come back here and put avatar here for my class name, and I'm going to give it a width of 100 pixel. A width of 100 pixel. For my height also, I'm going to give it a height of 100 pixel, but in this case, you see, I can give it a height of 100 pixel or I can use aspect ratio. But for this tutorial, I'm going to use aspect ratio so that you can actually have a little bit of hint in aspect ratio if you don't know about it. And if you really don't know about aspect ratio, I have a video in it. I will put a link in the description box so that you can go and check it out. So what I'm going to do now with aspect ratio, you can set a width and automatically it will calculate the height for you to have an equal height and an equal width. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put aspect ratio here, aspect ratio, and I'm going to say 1:1. And I'm going to be having an equal height and an equal width for my avatar image. If you look at it, this is actually what I'm having. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a border radius now because I want it to be in a cycle form. So I'm going to, for my border radius, I'm going to make it to be 50%. With 50%, you can make your image cycle. So after having my border radius to be 50%, I'm going to give it a text align of center. So that's it. I have my text aligned to be center. So what I'm going to do now is to give it a position of absolute. So I'm going to write top minus 65 pixel. For my left, I'm going to make a little bit of some calculation here. So I'm going to write cal within it here, and within it I'm going to write 50% of my left. I'm going to write minus 50 pixel. By the time I save now, my avatar image is going to be centered at the center of my login box. So I believe that's all for my login form. What I'm going to do next is to target my H1, which is this my text of login form. So I'm going to write H1 here. So now what I'm going to do is my H1, I'm going to give it a font size of 1.5 rem. A font size of 1.5 rem. And I'm going to give it a text align of center. Text align to be center, and that's all I have for I need for my H1. So now I'm going to go back to my HTML here and continue with what I started. So I'm going to write a paragraph here, and I'm going to put username here, and below it I'm going to give an input with a text here, and I'm going to give a placeholder. A placeholder to be enter your username. I'm going to come down here and also give another paragraph and write password here. And below it I'm also going to create another input. This time around it's going to be password. And there's going to be a placeholder of enter your password. by the time it's finished saving, this is actually what we're having here. So I'm going to come down here also. I'm going to come below it and also give a button here, and I'm going to write input. This time around it's going to be submit. So now let me go back to my CSS file and target this my paragraph here and this my paragraph here. So I'm going to come back here and just say paragraph here, and I'm going to give it a font size of 1 rem. Now I'm having my paragraph font size to be 1 rem. So apart from that, now I'm going to target all my inputs that are inside my login form, which is my username and this is my password. So I'm going to write here login box, login box. Now I'm going to target all the inputs, which is my username, password, and this is my submit button. I'm going to give it a weight to be 100%. Now my inputs here are having a weight of 100%. So what I'm going to do now next, after giving it a weight of 100%, I'm going to give a margin from the bottom to be 20 pixels, because I want to be having space from each button. So after that, what I'm going to do next is target this my 2 input, which is my password and my username. So what I'm going to do now is to give it a form, which is my first, and I'm going to write input. Within it, I'm going to write type with an equal sign and a quote, and within it, I'm going to write text. And I believe that's all for this one. I'm going to write input also, but this one is going to be for my password. I'm going to write type and equal to the code, and within this code I'm going to write password. So in this case I have targeted my 2 input, which is my text and my password. So I'm going to give it a background color of transparent. Now I'm having my background color to be transparent, styling both my password and username. So what I'm going to do now is to give it a border, my border bottom to appear, but I can use border bottom here, but in this case I'm going to use border block. If you don't know about border block, I can go to use border block, and I'm going to write 1 pixel solid gray. Now I'm having a border bottom of 1 pixel solid gray. If you don't know, border block start is the top border block end is the bottom border, and this border inline start and this border inline end. That's how it works. Instead of me writing border bottom 1 pixel solid gray, just to show you guys about border block, so you can just write border block end 1 pixel solid gray. Well, let me make it to be white to see how it's going to look. Yeah, a little bit lighter. After giving it a border, I'm going to give it a padding of 0.2 rem, 0.2 rem, 0.2 rem top and bottom, and 0 to be left and right. Now this is actually what I'm having. So I'm going to give it an outline to be none, outline of none, and I want it to have a color of white. The text color to be white. Now this is actually what we're having here. My placeholder is now having a text color of white, but I'm going to leave it like this because I want it to be in this form. If I start typing now, I'm going to be having a color of white. If you guys look at it here, my color now is white. I want it to be white, the color of my input here. I want it to be white. So I believe that's all for my input here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to target my submit button here. So I'm going to go back to my CSS here, and as I did my input here, I'm going to write form here, and I'm going to write input, and I'm going to write type with an equal sign and a quote, and I'm going to write submit here. So I'm going to give it a height of 40 pixels. I want the submit button to have a height of 40 pixels. So I'm going to give it a height of 40 pixels. And I want it to have a background of FB2525. This is actually the color I want it to have, and I want to give it a font size of 1 rem. I want the text to have a font size of 1 rem. A font size of 1 rem. That's it. And after giving a font size of 1 rem, I want it to be a little bit bold. So I'm going to use the property font width, and I'm going to give it to be 500. If I save here, now this is actually what we're having. So after giving it a font size, I'm going to give it a cursor. I want when I hover on it, I should have like a finger appearing. So I'm going to write cursor here, cursor, and I want to make it to be pointer. So by the time I save here, when I hover, I'm having a pointer here. So after that, I want to give it a border radius because I want the edges to be a little bit curved. So I'm going to give it a border radius of, let me try 10 pixels and see how it's going to look. 10 pixels, let me take it to be 20 here. Let's see. Yes, 20 is a little bit good. So I want when I hover it and I want some changes to happen. So I'm going to copy this here, copy it, everything, and I'm going to come back here and paste it. And I'm going to write hover. So any changes I give this is going to happen when I hover on it. I want the opacity to drop. The opacity to drop to, let's see, 0.8. Let me give it to be 0.8, and let's see how it's going to be. Yes, it's a little bit good. I don't want it to have big changes here, but the border is showing, so let me make this to the border of this button to be none, because I'm seeing a little bit of border here. The border to be none, and we have no border here, and it's looking good. And I want the color of the text to change when I hover because the opacity is dropping, so I want the color to change to white. Now I'm having a white color that is changing here, and everything now is going good. So apart from that, I'm going to go back to my HTML here and create a link here, 2 links, and I'm going to link it to nothing. I'm going to write forgot password, and I'm going to create another link here. I'm going to link it to nothing. I'm going to write here create new account. Create new account, and let's head back to our CSS. So I'm going to target the whole of my link here with A. If you look at it, this is actually what we're having here. But let me go back to my HTML here. I want it to break to the circle line. I want each because links are inline elements, so they are going to be in the same line as you're seeing here, even though there are 2 links, but if you notice here, they are still in the same line. So I want to break it. I'm going to use the break tag, and I want them to break to the circle line. I don't want them to be in the same line. So as you can see, this is actually how I want it to be. So I'm going to go back to my CSS here and target this my links here, and I'm going to make it to be a font size of, let's say, 0.8 rem, and let's see how it's going to look. 0.8 rem is not bad, but let me take it to be 1 rem and change the color to white. And I'm going to, like, when you hover on it, I want some changes to happen. But let me change this to dark gray. I think it's going to be a little bit better. Dark gray, something like this. Yeah, it looks good now. So I want when I hover on this my links, I want some things to happen. So I'm going to write hover here. And then the first thing I want when you hover on it, I want an underline to appear. So I'm going to write text decoration. I'm going to come here and say underline. And apart from that, I want to change the color. I want when you hover on it, it should change from dark gray to light gray. So I'm going to write color here, and I'm going to say light gray. So when you hover on it, the color is going to change from light gray to dark gray. But even though if you click on it, it's not going to take you to any place because I didn't link it to anything. So if I open this in a bigger page, this is actually our results that we're having here. If you look at it here, but if you notice here, our login here is very, very close to our username here, but I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to come to my H1 here. Let's go back to H1, and I'm going to give a margin from the bottom. And let's make it a 10 pixel and see how it's going to look. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of space, but let me take it to 20 pixel. Yeah, now everything is looking a little bit better than before. That's actually all about this. So all you need to do now is to go and practice it and also make it to your own style. Not exactly how I did this, but I want you guys to go and do it to your own style, to your own taste, and change the colors, change the background, change the values, just to have it your own style. And I hope this video is helpful. If it is, please don't forget to like this channel, and if you want to join us in exploring the world of CSS, then please subscribe to the channel.